It says this. You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Now, real quick, some people have taken this text to mean that we should never hold another person accountable. You see right there, no one is worthy to say something about someone else's life. Everybody's got specks in their eyes. We should all just take care of our own specks and leave each other alone. No, that verse teaches us that we shouldn't be hypocrites, that we should indeed take care of the plank that's in our eye. But then what does it go on to say? Take care of the plank so that you can go help someone with their speck. Understand this, church. Everybody look at me. On this rainy day here in Brandon, you need to understand this about Jesus and our relationship with him and our relationship with each other. We are each other's lifelines in this following of Jesus thing. If we don't hold each other accountable, if there is not a calling out of each other in life groups, if there is not an addressing of the sins that would destroy us, then those sins will indeed destroy us. The church needs to be willing to stand up and say, hey man, that's going to eat your lunch. Do you realize that you're destroying your marriage? Do you understand that you can't keep doing this as a follower of Jesus Christ? There has to be that. But as we're doing that, all Jesus is saying is make sure that you don't come from this high and lofty place of perfection, false perfection, that you've conjured up in your own little, noggins, and understand that you need to do this in a humble way, in a way that you can come in and say to someone, listen, I don't have any stones to throw. I'm not perfect at this myself. In fact, I would love for you to help me with my stuff. But I need to let you know, I see what's going on in your life, and it's going to end up to be your ruin. Can we pray about that together? Can we hold each other accountable to those things and head in a healthy direction? Maybe this will help you. Anybody ever been on a plane? Who's been on a plane? Anybody? All right. Plane ride always starts with the same thing. The guy comes over the loudspeaker. It's usually one of the stewardesses, flight attendants, whatever's proper right now. But they get up there and they say all their stuff, and they teach you how to use a seatbelt. Thank you. And most of us, anybody listen when they do that? Who's reading their paper when that's going on? Anybody? Yeah, because we've heard it so many times. We could do it if we had to. But I remember the first couple times I got on the plane, I was really interested. I'd never heard this stuff before. And so when the lady got to the part where she pulls the little teacup and has the big spaghetti thing and goes to the top, you know what I'm talking about? And she goes to the top. Now, in the event that we lose cabin pressure, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound good. I should pay attention. She says, in the event that we lose cabin pressure, these air masks will drop out of the ceiling. Here's what I want you to do. Take the elastic band, put it over your head. It's like, don't worry about the airbag blowing up. It's, the oxygen's flowing. And then they always said this to the parents flying on the flight. Be sure to secure whose mask first? Secure your mask first before assisting the minor who accompanies you. And I remember hearing that and thinking to myself, hey, this must be really hard for moms. Dads are like, yeah, no problem. Oh yeah, here you go. Sorry, I forgot about it. There you go, buddy. Our dads take like both masks. Hey, if this one runs out, I need this one. Yeah. Slamming us dads. Sorry, guys. But for moms, moms have had this child, and from the child's birth, from the child's conception, they've just been thinking about how they're going to provide for this child, nurture this child, take care of this child. And so when any kind of, calamity comes, it's Mama Bear. Let's protect the kids. Save yourself, son. I'll take the bus. I'll take the hit from the bus. That's what I meant. Anyway, so here it is. This airline, stewardess is saying, "Hey, put your own mask on first." Moms must be like, "Are you serious? Are you crazy? I had to take care of my kid." Why did the instructions come that way though? Because listen, moms, if you haven't done, if you've sat in airplanes and said, "I'm not doing it," I want you to know why you need to do that. Because if you can't breathe and you pass out because you've put the oxygen on Junior first and not on you, well, then you're no more good to Junior anymore. You've got to take care of you so that you can take care of Junior. The Bible says that we are here to take care of each other. We are here to help each other with the specks in our eyes. But if we're going to be able to help someone with the speck in their eyes, then we better secure our masks first. So we need to take care of our eyes. keep our sight lines clear, and that means no hypocrisy. Now, Jesus changes his flow, and we'll finish up quickly with these next two. It says in verse 42, he says, "No good tree bears bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit." All right, there's a Greek word. It's the Greek word "duh," and it means duh. And I think this word was getting thrown around a ton when Jesus started this line of reasoning. Everybody who was listening to Jesus that day would have been a farmer of some sort. They were subsistence farmers. They would plant what they would eat. If they didn't plant it, they wouldn't eat. And so everybody knew that if you put a seed in the ground that was a cucumber or whatever the plant was, then that was going to yield cucumbers. If you put a seed in the ground that was a dandelion, that was going to yield dandelions. You wanted cucumbers, not so much on the dandelions. And so Jesus is teaching this stuff, and everybody there was saying, yeah, duh. But he goes on. He says, "No good tree bears bad fruit, no bad tree bears good fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit." If you want to know what you've planted, like let's say that one of us, me, I would be a great example of this. I would totally forget where I planted what. Is anybody that way? I dropped a bunch of seeds in the ground here somewhere. Now, I could find out what the seeds were by going back and digging up the seeds I had just planted, comparing them to all my other seeds and being like, oh, yeah, pumpkins, and then putting them back in the ground. Or I could just wait for however long the growing season is for those things to come out of the ground, start sprouting, start growing to the point that they start bearing fruit, and then I could just walk around my garden and say, oh, that's where I planted the pumpkins. There they are. The point is that the things that we plant are going to bear whatever they are as fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit. And he comes off with a capper here. He says, "People don't pick figs from thorn bushes or grapes from briars." And once again, everybody gave the collective duh. And we're not going to be able to, strawberry season's in. How many people have just been nailing the strawberries? I love the strawberries, man. I've just been working those things over. I have. But once strawberry season's over, you're not going to go out and find strawberries on the orange trees around here. They're just not going to be there. All right, so enough of all this obvious. It's like Captain Obvious has saved the day. Here it is. Jesus takes all the truth that he just kind of sprouted about the garden, and now he's going to apply it to man's souls, a man's spiritual life. He says, "Then a good man brings good things out of a good stored up in his heart. And an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For out of the overflow of his heart, a man's mouth speaks." Garbage in, garbage out. Good things in, good things out. You plant the right stuff, the righteous stuff in your life, then the righteous stuff is going to come out in how you live. You plant the unrighteous stuff, the sinful stuff in your life, then you will bring that kind of fruit on the outside. It's a reap-sow principle. Whatever we start with is what we end up with. And so the question becomes, what are we planting in our lives, church? Have you assessed your calendars lately? I'm not talking about what's coming up in the future. I'm talking about everything that's transpired in the past. How are you spending your time? Are you spending your life planting the good things that as they grow and mature will be the fruit of your lives? Or are you spending your life planting the nominal stuff, planting the sinful stuff? Because whatever we start with, whatever goes in, comes out. I learned this in 4th grade. I sat next to a young boy named Alan Sparks. It was me, Alan Sparks, and April Spencer. It was a great day at our school. It was a very weird school. It was a private Christian school at my Angry Baptist Church. And it was kind of a dungeon of sorts. It was in the basement of the church. All the children were herded into a room with large walls separating their desks. It was kind of like a library, except more like a deprivation chamber. Yeah, and so you'd have these walls between you and the kid next to you, and you would stare at this wall in front of you all day long. If you had a question for the teacher, you would raise a flag, and then the teacher would come to your desk. Don't try to understand it, just go with the story. Anyway, So I'm sitting here in this cubicle. It comes time for lunch. It's field day, in fact, on this particular day. And myself and Alan and April and the rest of the kids, we all got to go outside. It was a great day because the teachers decided to make hot dogs for the kids. And so Alan and I, Alan, by the way, was the biggest fourth grader to this day that I've ever known. He was 6'7", 350. Anyway, and so we went outside. He wasn't really that big, but we were hanging out. Alan challenged me to a hot dog eating contest, and I'd never been, one to shy away from anything that had to do with food. So I said, "You're on." We had about 15 minutes to eat. I managed 4 hot dogs. I thought that was pretty good for a fourth grader. I mean, I was tearing it up, right? Alan ate 12. Alan ate 12 hot dogs, and he ate them at such a rate that he took hot dogs down in 2 bites. Huh? Wow.